Ashley Miser, the Parks Alliance of Indianapolis. So my 1828 experience really started back in, goodness, what would that be, 2012, 2013 at this point. And a lot of my experience was actually on the back end as a staff member who got to really experience the whole trajectory of what this program was when it started, and then how it's going to grow and mature into what it is today. I actually had this incredible moment where I got to actually watch my husband go through the class prior to me even knowing IndyHub or knowing what 1828 was, and seeing how much it really helped him and it helped transcend his career trajectory and his path of people. It was really amazing. And so I knew how special it was to him. I got on staff. I learned even more about the why it existed and where it came from. And so a lot of 1828 was born out of this kind of Indianapolis's Illuminati, right? Like the folks who do the work, who are in the trenches, who aren't always seen or heard, and you didn't know their name. And so it really was. I mean, at some point, you know, you can laugh about this Illuminati thing, but it was this like secret, like if you were in the class, you're like, do people know about this? Like, what is it? And obviously it's 17 years old now. And so people do know what 1828 is. Molly Cheevers took a chance on me and hired me at IndyHub because I was passionate about community engagement, passionate about our city, passionate about introducing new people to the people of our city, and helping people find a space to belong. And so it was really this moment of like, okay, 1828 is gonna grow, expand. We're gonna bring new people into this. We're gonna bring in new moderators so that there are a variety of voices and sectors and paths of life. And I got to see that. I've gotten, now as not a staff member, as more of a neighbor and supporter of IndyHub, I've gotten to see it from the back end or the outside end, and it continues to grow and mature. So there's a very specific moment that I professionally will probably always carry with me, but we were not going to back down. We were going to host this class. I can't remember the number now, but we were going to host 1828 during the pandemic. And my appreciation for the presenting sponsor at the time, Citizens Energy Group, saying, yes, move forward with it. We want to support that. And they did in such a special way. And we got everybody together at Highland Park. And there's even a beautiful picture that captures it. Everyone was 6 feet apart, but very professionally dressed because everybody was getting a great headshot that day. Like, we didn't really back out of these moments that we told them we would provide them. And they were loud and happy and having fun from distance with masks, all these things. And then in addition to that, we had one of our alumni, Lauren Day, come back, and she hosted this beautiful moment where she actually encouraged them to journal about themselves, what they were feeling, their experiences, who they are, and then share that. And it was the second meeting, their second meeting. And the idea that you're gonna stand up in front of 14 other people and other professional adults who are like putting this program on, standing in the background, and talk about yourself in an authentic way and very raw was, that's a gamble, right? Some people are going to lean into it. Some people are going to be like, this is nuts. I'm not doing this. But I think because of where the world was at the time, we provided a moment for these 15 young professionals who, were carrying a lot of weight. And that was, I do not like to cry. I'm not a crier. It really irritates me to cry. It brought tears to my eyes to watch them be so raw. And in that, I was like, this is it. And that group really did have a very special, everybody has special moments, but that moment really kicked us off into a pretty incredible trajectory of a class and Greg Stowers was our moderator at the time with Jeff Robinson, and Jeff Robinson was starting to hand the baton off to Greg, which is, the behind the scenes is what is meant to happen, right? So it all just kind of culminated in this really beautiful moment outside in a safe space. As someone who has adopted Indianapolis as home, my career path certainly has been really special to me, the way I've carved out the spaces and the people that have kind of come into my life. And a part of that, I think, when I go back and think about life before Indianapolis, right? Because I'm not from here. I was not born and raised. I'm not this native Indianapolis. I certainly think about, when I lost my mom. I was in my early 20s. I was still in college. I was still trying to figure out what I wanted to do, where I was going, and I lost my guiding star at such a young age. And I've certainly carried that with me time and time again. And it's really allowed me to lean in on other really strong women in this city, right? I'm lucky enough to have a mother-in-law who is a leader in this city as well, and she has been a mentor of mine. But in addition to that, and more externally, I have truly opened my ears and my heart to incredibly talented, strong women who maybe weren't and now are in positions of leadership, who are in the trenches, who are doing the work. And I know that I've done that to kind of fill this void of missing my guiding star. But because of that, my appreciation for the female power that runs this city, it's pretty incredible. You don't have to look very hard, right, to see ladies up there leading. And a part of that, I think is very special to me, and I'm always gonna support other women in their career field, and I know that that's just something that I'll always carry with. Now being a mom of a daughter, it's even more important to me to show her that you can be feisty, you can be empowered, you can have a meltdown, and you can still be a really good leader. So a lot of my defining moments have led me to this moment of just, I really appreciate female leaders. I really respect female leaders. I think, the road's still really hard. It's really hard still. And now again, being a mom and still trying to understand my value as a professional and what I can bring to the table to young professionals like our 1828ers. What can I give them when I'm already giving so much of myself? But to see little moments that I can give them and they think it's huge, I want to continue doing that too, so. The alumni base of 1828 is pretty deep. And you go back and you look at our Class 1 and Class 2 and Class 3 members, and they are leading. They are in positions now that we may have brought in a guest speaker to come and talk to them. And I think about Lorenzo Giple, what the work he's doing for our city right now, and the work he's kind of the culmination of his career to this point too, has just been amazing. This culmination of a moment with Creative Mornings coming in, and we actually had a couple of our 1828ers on the Creative Mornings volunteer committee, and they were incredible and doing amazing things. I know, so that was fun to watch them, but this culmination of Creative Mornings and IndyHub and the Cabaret and the Arts Council, and then to see Lorenzo Giple, who was in Class 2 of 1828, on stage giving a Creative Mornings talk, was a pivotal moment for me as a staff person at IndyHub, as a supporter of IndyHub, as somebody who really appreciates all that it does, to see somebody who also I look up to and respect and feel like he sees you when he talks to you, he remembers you, and he remembers details. I think that's important as a leader, right? And so to be able to sit in a seat and watch him share very authentically about his life and his life journey, and to be nervous about it because he's probably one of the most humble people too, I think was really incredible. And it made your heart so happy to see him get this recognition what you think he deserves. He's like making jokes and trying to get off the stage maybe, but you're like, more of this, like more of this. Tell us more about your story and how you landed in Indianapolis and why Indianapolis and why is this your home now? And then for him to just roll out his dedication to the people. And he was one that when we were kind of vetting this idea of like people make the city, this tagline, which still I'm always so proud when I wear my people make the city shirt, but I remember sitting with him downstairs at Provider and kind of pitching was like, okay, we're gonna throw out this like people make the city tagline, really build it into something. And he gave so many amazing ideas. Some we made happen, some we couldn't. We just didn't have the capacity, but talk about somebody who you could always go to for mindful and sound advice. I always think of him, even to this day, right? He's somebody, if you don't talk to for 6 months, 7 months, you can still pick up the phone, call him, text him. And I know that what he was given throughout his 1828 experience, I know personally that he's given that back to young professionals, to I'm sure his staff, but he came back to a lot of IndyHub experiences whenever I would call and ask, like, can you come moderate this? Can you come be a part of this? Can you be a connection for this person? He never said no. And I think that's a huge, that's a huge undertaking. It's a lot of personal energy that he also has little kids at home. And so dividing and conquering out, like he's able to do that and still give of himself to our city. So that was a good culmination of like 1828 on stage, supporting institutions that have always supported IndyHub, right? It was just this moment for me that I was like, I'm not gonna forget this. This is really beautiful. And I know, 1828 for him was maybe just this small blip on the radar, but for others who see his name as an alumni, who know he was a part of the IndyHub network, like it's a huge deal to now see where he is too.
Perfect.